Just put fuel in it, guys. Let's save that last set of right side tires for later if we need it, Marty.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. pits, giving up a top 10 position. He said it's just chattering the right rear of the car the entire time. He said we can't get the balance exactly like I want. A wedge adjustment, trying to tighten that car up. 2 tires for Jr.
Ryan Newman leading this race, stayed on track. Kurt Busch, Carl Edwards, Denny Hamlin, Regan Smith right behind him. A number of drivers pitted under this caution. Dale Earnhardt Jr. one of them. He had a tire violation. He had to come back down pit road. And of those who made pit stops here at lap 241, Greg Biffle, Jeff Burton, Matt Kenseth, Clint Bowyer, Kevin Harvick. The first 5 off pit road. They restart from 19th on back. On the front row, Ryan Newman and Kurt Busch. Those two have led the most laps in the race today. Green flag goes back in the air with 57 laps to go here at New Hampshire. That penalty for Dale Earnhardt Jr. tail end of the longest line. He's back in 33rd now. As we got 4 cars you could throw a blanket over at the front of the field. Denny Hamlin been quiet today, but he's up to 3rd here with just a handful of laps to go, Marty.
His run back to the front wasn't very quiet, Adam. He was moving up through the field. He's a little bit of left rear damage. That's it. Chassis wasn't really affected for Denny Hamlin. They are about 5 laps short before that last caution on fuel. Mike Ford told him, once we go green, I'll give you a fuel number. But Denny said, it's hard to save fuel here. You're single file. Everybody's running the same speed, so there's really no opportunities here to save fuel, Adam, but they'll probably be about 3 laps short.
Kurt Busch sees the door open on Ryan Newman. 55 to go, and this the battle for the race lead here at New Hampshire.
Who are you watching, Wally?
I'm watching the 24 car. I just think he's in the best spot right now to me. He's got a great car, and he's got all the fuel he needs.
So you're saying the 22 going around the 39 here could be a moot point?
Well, yeah. I'm not sure. The 22 is shutting his car off under caution. So obviously he's thinking that he's got a fuel issue. So, I mean, if it comes down to having to save fuel, these guys are in big trouble.
Kurt Busch unable to make the pass so far, but he has looked good driving inside of Ryan Newman the last couple of laps. Ryan Newman looks really good off the exit of the corner, Marty.
And he's having to drive so hard, Adam. After restarts, this is where the 39 of Ryan Newman is the worst. Takes about 10 laps for his car to come in. Even after a caution like we just had, it takes a while for it to come in. So he's having to drive extra hard. No shot of Newman saving fuel, and they're still just a little bit short as well, Adam.
The 24 car is 10 laps better on fuel than the 4 cars in front of him. And he just backed off right there and let those guys kind of find their place back and get in position. He's just waiting for them to get lined up at this point in time, because I'm telling you, he's passed every one of these cars at some point in time in the race.
Yep. And his car is better than all these guys in front of him.
Ryan Newman continues to hold off Kurt Busch. Dale Earnhardt Jr. has been back and forth throughout the field today, and we told you a tire violation when he came to pit road a while ago. And the penalty for him, tail end of the longest line. He's now 27th in the running order. Back to the front. Ryan Newman continues to hold off Kurt Busch. Carl Edwards tucked in 3rd as we have 51 laps to go. Big time problems for the point leader coming in today, Kyle Busch. He has dropped back to 4th in the standings. Carl Edwards, as of now, the point leader, and Kurt Busch 2nd as he tries to go after the race lead into turn 3.
That 22 gets a really good straight run up off the corner, but when he drove down in 3 there, the car washes up. He loses the nose a little bit behind the 39, which opens up the door for Carl Edwards.
Yeah, it killed the 22's momentum, and now Carl Edwards in the hunt. And Jeff Gordon continues just to lay back behind this bunch, as does Denny Hamlin. Kyle, you pointed out all the cars that Jeff Gordon has passed today. What about Jamie McMurray? I mean, this guy has had his fair share of problems, but couple of strategy moves, and here he is in the top 10 late in the race.
I think his crew helped him pass most of those cars today.
Yes, he did. Yes, it did. You know, he had the strategy that worked early on in the race when everybody was trying to do two-tire stops. Those guys gambled, stayed out, caught a caution, and it's cycled back through. And right now at the end of the race has put him in a good position for a finish. Joey Logano's wearing him out right now, though, so let's be honest. Joey's had a great run here today.
What's the latest in the 24 camp, Matt?
Fuel a concern for the top 4 guys, but the man running in 5th, Jeff Gordon, Alan Gustafson told him under the last caution, we needed to save just a couple more laps. We did it with this caution. Now, no word, though, if an overtime situation of a green-white checker should factor in, so this could still get dramatic at the end.
Bobby Labonte was 4th at the season opening Daytona 500. Hasn't had a top 10 since, but the 2000 champion running in the 10th position right now. Good to see that 47 bunch enjoying a nice afternoon.
Another guy we haven't really mentioned is a 51 car, Landon Castle, sitting in the 13th spot today, having a good run.
Working on a career best. Talk about a team that brings their lunch pail to the racetrack every week. He certainly would fit that category.
There he is in the 51 car.
Just in front of him, Juan Pablo Montoya, driver. Been good here throughout the weekend. Marty told us Ryan Newman's car takes about 10 laps after a restart to get going. Well, I think we're starting to see that unfold. His advantage, 0.7 of a second over second place Kurt Busch with 46 to go. Back in New Hampshire, and it's time to take an inside look at what's happening in the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series, brought to you by Sprint and Evo 4G, America's first 4G phone. Talking about Mike Bliss and Tony Stewart. Check out NASCAR Sprint Cup Mobile and the Evo, only from Sprint at sprint.com/speed. Mike Bliss, biggest mover of the day, up 20 positions. And Tony Stewart has the fastest lap of the afternoon here at New Hampshire. And that is appropriate because during the break, Kyle Petty, you said, here comes smoke.
Yeah, he is coming. I'm telling you, he left one pack and ran down to 20 in the one car and drove right past those guys. And he's closing in on Jeff. And I thought Jeff was going to be closing because he has just been the dominant car. For me, watching on the times and watching what he's done on the racetrack, he's had a phenomenal day. But Tony is putting himself back in position.
Yeah, if Jeff's strategy was, I'll wait till these guys run out of gas, you better not look in the mirror. Yeah. Because the 14's got enough fuel and is really fast.
Yeah, the 14 and Jeff are on the same fuel strategy. They pitted at the last time on the same lap, and I'm telling you, man.
The last time anyone was on pit road, lap 241, and of all those guys that came in, Jeff Burton running the highest of that group, and he is 17th right now. So that strategy as of now is not played out, and certainly depending on how this race finishes and if we were to get green-white checkers and that sort of thing, it may pay off. There's A.J. Allmendinger. Had a pit road issue earlier. You see the damage on the right front. That after he had driven up toward the top 10, and his team has stayed after it, and he's trying to get inside of the aforementioned Burton for the 17th position.
And so many times we focus on the leaders of these races, and when they're running single file, as you see the 11 car for third place here drive by the 99, and then the 24 try to take a peek inside. But these guys race their guts out for 12th and 13th.
Pop there.
And there's Tony, right?
And you know, Jeff's going to have to go now. I think he realizes that if he's going to have a shot at winning this race, he's got to stay ahead of that guy that's behind him right now, the 14.
Denny Hamlin up to third. Jeff Gordon now fourth around Carl Edwards. And here comes Tony Stewart, Matt.
And when you look at Tony Stewart's racing resume, 8 of his 39 wins have come in July. He's won a couple fuel mileage races, Kansas and Pocono. But on that last stop when he topped off, Darian Grubb told him, you're going to be outside the top 20, but you're good to go on fuel. Drive as hard as you want. Think about what happened here last fall, guys. He ran out of gas in the last lap, last corner. If any place owes anybody anything, which it never does, certainly the Magic Mile owes Stewart a W.
Remember that spin a little while ago for Jimmy Johnson, restarted 27th. How about this? Driver 48 up to 12th. He's made some hay late in the race.
And he can salvage something out of this. You know, he can come back and have a good solid finish. But, you know, the way these guys are running, gets in the back of Bobby right there a little bit as Bobby gets loose. But as you look at it, you know, he's going to have to struggle to catch up to these guys and get around them.
Yeah,
there's not enough time to do that.
Got to make up 7 seconds as he's passing all these good cars.
So he needs a caution.
Yes.
Johnson up to 11th as we saw contact with he and Bobby Labonte.
Yeah, he just got in the back of him a little bit. Just got him a little sideways, and then, you know, Bobby tries to catch it, and they get together again coming down the straightaway.
We are at that stage of the race, Wally, where patience is no longer an option, aren't we?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, like I said, you're going to take a lot more of the racetrack than what you were earlier. But it's spread out a lot more now. So, I mean, you can work a guy over a little bit, but, you know, you've got 34 laps to go. And a lot of these guys are sitting in pretty good positions, you know, if they got the fuel mileage to do it.
Ryan Newman is, in fact, Army strong. His lead over second place Kurt Busch more than a second now, Matt.
And Busch has been trying to conserve fuel. At one point, he was 5 laps short. About 10 laps ago, Steve Addington came on the radio and told him the lap time that he had just completed. Said, that is the pace I need you to run from here to the finish to try to conserve. Here's the most recent conversation about their strategy.
All right, but they just told 99 and 11 to start saving a little bit. We're 3 short. He's back down to 30-20s. You're in a 30-17, and the leader's a 30-41. He's saving fuel, too. Yeah, if you can try to pass him and then start saving, that'd be cool.
Well, he last pitted on lap 217, just like Ryan Newman and like Denny Hamlin, and that would be with 84 laps to go. But what they all have going in their favor, since they pitted, there's been 15 cautions. And I keep going back to the formula at a 1-mile racetrack. For every 2 cautions, it's equal to 1 green or vice versa. So I truly believe these guys are going to be in good shape here unless we have that green-white checkered. You know what I keep thinking about, though? This is the Lenox 301, not the Lenox 300. That could be a difference.
The big problem I see with some of these guys, if they're talking about running, if they're running 40s and 50s and Gordon and Stewart can run 20s, they're going to get passed. If they've got to run a certain pace as 30-something, and that's what they got to do to make it to the finish, and some of these guys don't, they're sitting ducks.
Yeah, and that's exactly right. They can't afford to give up 2/10 a lap because Jeff and those guys don't have to give up 2/10 a lap. But I'm going to tell you, right now, we're looking at 29 laps to go. This 39 shows no sign. Ryan Newman shows no sign of saving fuel, of doing anything but driving the wheels off of it.
We're going to take a break. And if things stay green, we're going to stay with you the rest of the afternoon on the other side. Ryan Newman leading with 29 to go here at New Hampshire.
NASCAR Sprint Cup Racing from New Hampshire International Speedway on TNT is brought to you by Ram Trucks. Guts. Glory. Ram. By Verizon 4G LTE. Built so you can rule the air. By Coca-Cola. Open a Coke and enjoy the race. And by McDonald's. I'm loving it.
24 laps to go in the Lenox Industrial Tools 301. And with an off week next week, time for these guys to muscle up for the final 24 laps. And we had some muscling up here a few minutes ago. Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Greg Biffle getting after it around 20th position.
Remember I told you about taking a little bit more racetrack for yourself?
Just a little bit.
I think
this is a good
I think
angle.
Earnhardt did. I need a little bit more. Sorry, Greg.
Good thing Biffle was up there, I think, for Dale Earnhardt Jr. Denny Hamlin to the inside of Kurt Busch. That for second, and Jeff Gordon right there behind him with 23 to go. Talked a lot about Gordon here in the last 100 laps. I've talked about him all day and how fast this car has been despite some adversity. I think it's time to push the button and go if he's going to get anything done, Wally.
I agree, and I'm not saying we know much. Even though we were talking about him, we can be a little bit off, but you're right. I mean, Ryan Newman, what's he, about 2 seconds, a little over 2 seconds ahead of Jeff Gordon. So Jeff's going to have to go. He's, you know, it's going to take longer to pass these cars like the 22 in front of him. But I agree, if he's going to run